The large silver ship hovered above Seoul's skyline, its smooth surface catching the morning light. People on the streets below pointed and gasped. Some took pictures. Others ran for cover. This was the first alien ship to ever visit Earth. Inside, Earth's Unified Space Command Base, Ambassador Hana Kim adjusted her formal blue uniform. Today would change human history forever. The aliens called themselves the Talons, and after 6 months of radio communication, they had finally arrived. "They're landing now, Ambassador," said a young officer, his eyes fixed on the monitor showing the ship settling onto the large circular platform outside. Hana nodded. "Remember, everyone, be respectful but confident. We represent all of humanity. Today." The doors to the landing area slid open. Cool air rushed in as Hana led her small team out to meet the visitors. The ship's hull seemed to ripple. Then a doorway appeared where there had been only smooth metal before. 2 figures stepped out. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, with pale blue skin that shimmered slightly in the sunlight. Their bodies were lean but strong-looking, with 4 long fingers on each hand. Their faces were almost human except for the large, almond-shaped eyes that glowed with a soft, amber light. The taller alien stepped forward. "I am Captain Day of the Talon Exploration Fleet." His voice was deep and clear, coming through the translation device on his chest. "This is Science Officer Yoon." He gestured to his companion, who was observing the humans with obvious curiosity. Hana bowed slightly. "I am Ambassador Hana Kim of Earth's Unified Command. Welcome to our world." Captain Day looked around, his amber eyes taking in the buildings, the soldiers standing at attention, and the nervous officials behind Hana. "Your world is interesting, more developed than we expected." Science Officer Yoon moved closer, studying Hana with unblinking eyes. "You are very small," she said through her translator, "and soft. How do you defend yourselves?" One of the military officers behind Hana stiffened, but she kept her smile. "We have our ways, Officer Yoon. Perhaps during your visit you'll learn more about human capabilities." Captain Day made a sound like gentle bells, a laugh, Hana guessed. "Forgive Yoon's directness. We Talons pride ourselves on our natural abilities. We often forget that other species might have different strengths." "Natural abilities?" asked Hana. Captain Day held out his right hand, palm up. The center of his palm began to glow orange. Then, to the amazement of all the humans present, a small flame appeared dancing above his skin but not burning him. "Fire manipulation," he said with obvious pride. "All Talons can create and control fire. It has defined our civilization for thousands of years. We have mastered the element that most species fear." The military officers exchanged glances. Hana's smile didn't waver. "Impressive. We would be interested to learn more about this ability." "Of course," said Day, closing his hand and extinguishing the flame. "Fire mastery is our greatest achievement. It has allowed us to become the dominant species in our region of space." Hana gestured toward the base entrance. "Please come inside. We have prepared a welcome reception. Then we can discuss the purpose of your visit in more detail." As they walked, Science Officer Yoon continued to study the humans. "Your bodies are so fragile," she observed. "No natural armor, no enhanced strength, no elemental abilities we can detect. How did your species survive long enough to develop technology?" General Choi, the senior military officer present, finally spoke up. "We adapted, Officer Yoon. Humans are very good at adapting." The Talons were led to a large conference room where food and drinks had been prepared. The aliens examined everything with curiosity but ate nothing, explaining that they had different dietary needs. Captain Day placed a small device on the table. It projected a holographic map of the galaxy. "We have been exploring this sector for the past 50 Earth years. Your planet is the 17th with intelligent life we have contacted. And what do you seek from these contacts?" asked Hana. "Knowledge, primarily," said Day. "And occasionally, alliance. The galaxy can be dangerous. Those with similar values often benefit from cooperation." Science Officer Yoon touched her own device and images of different alien species appeared. Most species we encounter have some natural advantage: enhanced strength, speed, armored bodies, or elemental manipulation like our fire. She looked directly at Hana. You seem to have none of these. General Choi cleared his throat. With respect, Officer Un, not all strength is immediately visible. Captain Day nodded. Indeed. Your technology is more advanced than we expected. Your use of metals and synthetic materials is quite sophisticated. Hana smiled. Perhaps tomorrow you would like to see more of our capabilities. We could arrange a demonstration at our military training grounds. The aliens looked at each other. Something silent passed between them. That would be acceptable, said Captain Day. We are always interested in understanding the defensive capabilities of species we contact. Excellent, said Hana. Our Korean military testing grounds are just outside the city. They're perfect for demonstrations of various types. Science. Officer Un tilted her head. Will you show us how you control fire? It would be interesting to compare your methods with ours. General Choi's face remained neutral. We have many ways of handling fire, Officer Yoon. I'm sure you'll find them educational. As the meeting continued, Captain Day grew more confident. He explained how Talon society was built around their fire abilities, their heating systems, cooking methods, even their art, all centered on natural flame manipulation. Our ancestors once feared fire, as most primitive species do, he explained. But through evolution we developed glands that could produce and control it. It was our great turning point as a species. At one point, to further demonstrate their abilities, Captain Day created a small ball of flame and passed it to Officer Yoon, who shaped it into a spinning ring before extinguishing it. The humans applauded politely. Tomorrow then, said Hana as the meeting concluded, we'll show you a bit more about humanity and how we've adapted to survive on our world. As the aliens turned to leave, Science Officer Yoon looked back at the humans. I've studied 17 species now, and none like yours, so limited in natural gifts yet surviving nonetheless. It is puzzling. General Choi smiled for the first time. Officer Un, humans have a saying. Appearances can be deceiving. When the aliens had returned to their ship for the night, General Choi turned to Hana. They underestimate us. Did you see how they look at us? Like we're children playing with sticks. Hana nodded. Then tomorrow will be quite educational for them. Contact Park Jin at the training grounds. Tell him to prepare all fire-based weaponry for demonstration. Including the M9 flamethrower? Asked the general with a slight smile. Especially the flamethrower, said Hana. Let's show our visitors what humans can do with fire when we put our minds to it. As night fell over Seoul, the alien ship glowed softly in the darkness, while below, humans prepared to challenge the Talon's understanding of fire mastery forever. The morning sun glinted off the alien ship as it hovered above the Korean military training grounds. Below, humans in uniform moved with purpose, setting up equipment and checking safety measures. This was an important day. The first military demonstration for an alien species. Captain Day and Science Officer Yoon were escorted from their ship by Ambassador Hana Kim. The Talons walked with confidence, their tall blue bodies moving gracefully despite Earth's gravity being slightly stronger than their home planets. We appreciate this opportunity to observe your defensive capabilities, said Captain Day. His amber eyes scanned the training ground with mild curiosity. We're happy to share, said Hana. Officer Park Jin will be your guide today. A fit man in a crisp military uniform approached and bowed. Welcome to our training facility. I'm Officer Park, head of Special Weapons Training. Science Officer Yoon studied the human carefully. Your people are small, but you move with purpose. Interesting. If Park was offended, he didn't show it. Size isn't everything, Officer Yoon. Today we'll show you why. He led them to a viewing platform where General Choi and other officials waited. The platform overlooked a large, open area with various targets and equipment. We'll start with basic weapons, said Park. He signaled to a group of soldiers who demonstrated standard firearms. The guns fired, hitting targets with precision. The noise was loud, but the Talons didn't flinch. Projectile weapons, noted Captain Day. Similar to what we've seen on other worlds. Effective but simple. Park nodded. Yes. Now we'll move to something more advanced. The next demonstration showed guided missiles and laser targeting systems. The aliens watched with slightly more interest, but still seemed unimpressed. Your technology is more developed than we expected, admitted Science Officer Yoon, but not remarkable compared to other species we've encountered. General Choi, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. Perhaps you'd like to show us one of your special abilities? I understand Talons have natural defenses. Captain Day straightened his already tall frame. Of course. He moved to the edge of the platform and held out his hand. The center of his palm began to glow orange. Slowly, a flame appeared, growing until it was the size of a large torch, extending 3 feet from his hand. All Talons can create and control fire, he said proudly. This is a moderate demonstration. In battle, we can project flames much farther. The human officials nodded politely, but didn't seem impressed. This confused Captain Day. You don't seem surprised by our fire ability, he said. Ambassador Hana smiled. It's very impressive, but humans have worked with fire for thousands of years. We respect its power. Officer Park checked his watch. It's time for the special demonstration. General Choi thought you might be interested in seeing how humans handle fire. For the first time, Science Officer Yoon showed real interest. Yes, we would like that very much. Do your scientists create fire through chemical means? Something like that, said Park with a small smile. He spoke into his radio, and the group was led to a different viewing area. This one had thick, protective glass and was set farther back from the demonstration field. Safety precautions, explained Park when Captain Day questioned this. The next demonstration requires some distance. In the field below, a figure appeared, wearing what looked like thick protective clothing from head to toe. The suit was silver and bulky, with a helmet that completely covered the face. On the person's back was a large metal tank with tubes, connected to a device held in their hands. This is Sergeant Kim Tae, said Park. He's one of our flamethrower specialists. Flame-thrower? Repeated Captain Day, struggling with the unfamiliar word. Yes, said General Choi. A device for projecting flames over distance. One of humanity's older fire technologies, but still quite effective. Science Officer Yoon tilted her head. You need special suits to work with fire? How primitive. We control fire with our bodies directly. Ambassador Hana just smiled. Please, watch carefully. Below, Sergeant Tae was moving into position. Several large metal targets had been set up about 50 feet away from him. He checked his equipment one final time, then looked up at the viewing platform and waited. Officer Park raised his hand. The demonstration will begin on my signal. Captain Day leaned forward slightly. Your specialist can create fire with that device? How far can the flames reach? Perhaps a few feet like our natural ability. Park didn't answer. Instead, he dropped his hand in a sharp motion. What happened next changed the Talon's understanding of humans forever. Sergeant Tae squeezed the trigger on his flamethrower. A massive jet of orange fire erupted from the nozzle with a deafening roar. The flame stream extended far beyond anything the aliens had ever seen. Not 3 feet, not 10 feet, but nearly 50 feet of controlled fire that engulfed the entire target area. Captain Day stumbled backward, his amber eyes wide with shock. Science Officer Yoon gasped, her data pad nearly slipping from her fingers. The heat was intense even behind the protective glass. The flames were so bright that the aliens had to shield their eyes. Metal targets in the field began to glow red, then white-hot. The fire consumed everything in its path. By the stars, whispered Captain Day. That's impossible. After 30 seconds that felt much longer, Sergeant Tae released the trigger. The flame jet stopped immediately, leaving behind scorched earth and melting metal. That was a basic demonstration, said Park calmly. The M9 flamethrower has a range of up to 60 feet and can sustain continuous fire for up to 10 minutes. Science Officer Yoon had recovered enough to start scanning with her data pad. The heat signature is beyond anything our bodies can produce. How do you create such intense fire? Special fuel mixtures, said General Choi. That one uses a thickened petroleum formula we call napalm. It burns hotter and longer than regular fuel. Captain Day was still staring at the smoking field below. And this is common technology for humans? Ambassador Hana nodded. Flamethrowers have existed for over a century. This is actually one of our simpler fire technologies. Simpler? Repeated Captain Day, his voice unusually high. Yes, said Officer Park. Would you like to see something more advanced? We have thermite demonstrations, plasma cutters, and incendiary munitions prepared. The Talons looked at each other. Their confident demeanor from earlier had completely vanished. Captain Day straightened his uniform in what seemed like an attempt to regain composure. Yes, he said finally. Show us more. Our people need to understand what humans are capable of. As the group moved toward the next demonstration area, science, Officer Yoon whispered to Captain Day in their own language. She had forgotten that their translator devices worked both ways. Their fire, it's beyond anything our species can produce naturally. What we thought was our greatest strength, they've engineered to levels we can't match. Captain Day nodded slowly. We've made a serious miscalculation about humans. They don't fear fire. They've mastered it in ways we never imagined possible. From behind them, General Choi spoke casually. The thermite demonstration is particularly interesting. It burns at over 4,000 degrees, hot enough to melt through metal almost instantly. The Talons said nothing, but their posture had changed. The proud, slightly condescending visitors were gone. In their place were two aliens coming to terms with the fact that humans, small, soft humans with no natural fire ability, had somehow surpassed them at the very thing that defined their species. Officer Park smiled slightly as he led them forward. After the weapons demonstrations, we thought you might be interested in seeing how we use controlled burns for land management, and how our firefighters battle wildfires. Humans don't just use fire as a weapon. We've learned to control it in many ways. Captain Day nodded silently, his amber eyes still wide with astonishment and a new emotion the humans hadn't seen in him before. Respect. The air went still as Sergeant Kim Tae positioned himself. Captain Day and Science Officer Yoon watched from the observation area with Ambassador Hana and General Choi. The other officials took several steps back, knowing what was about to happen. What? Is that device? Asked Captain Day, pointing at the large metal tank on Sergeant Tae's back. That's a flamethrower, General Choi said simply. It's how humans control fire. Before the aliens could ask more questions, Park Jin raised his hand and then dropped it, giving the signal. Sergeant Tae braced his legs and aimed the nozzle at the target area. He squeezed the trigger. A massive jet of orange flame shot forward, with a deafening roar. The fire stream stretched out 50 feet, engulfing the metal targets. The flames were bright and hot enough that everyone had to shield their eyes. The temperature around them rose instantly. Captain Day stumbled backward, in shock. His amber eyes widened to their full size. Science Officer Yoon dropped her data pad, her mouth hanging open. By the stars, whispered Captain Day as the flames continued to pour out of the human device. That's impossible. The fire consumed everything in its path. Metal glowed red and then white. The flames were so intense that they changed color from orange to blue near the center. After 30 seconds, Sergeant Tae released the trigger and the fire stream stopped. The damage was obvious. The target area was completely blackened and metal pieces were melting. Officer Yoon quickly recovered her data pad and began scanning frantically. This heat signature is beyond anything we can produce naturally. How? Is this possible? Ambassador Hana smiled. The flamethrower uses a mix of chemicals that burn at extremely high temperatures. We call it napalm. But this is more than just fire, said Captain Day, his voice strained. This is fire made into a weapon, General Choi nodded. Yes, humans have been weaponizing fire for thousands of years. Thousands, repeated Yoon, her fingers shaking as she continued her scans. Park Jin stepped forward. This is just the basic model. We have more advanced fire weapons to show you. As if on cue, a second soldier approached. This one carried a smaller device. He aimed at another target area and fired. This time, a bright white flame shot out, cutting through a thick metal plate as if it were paper. Thermite torch, explained Park Jin. Burns at over 4,000 degrees. It can cut through almost any material. Captain Day was silent now, watching with an expression of growing horror and fascination. Science Officer Yoon whispered something to him, forgetting their translator was still broadcasting to the humans. "They've turned our greatest ability into a mere tool," she said softly. "What we consider special, they have engineered to levels beyond our biology." Ambassador Hana pretended not to hear this comment. She gestured to another area of the field where several soldiers were setting up a demonstration. "Would you like to see how we use fire for controlled land clearing?" she asked. Captain Day nodded weakly. His confidence from earlier was completely gone. The soldiers ignited a controlled burn that quickly spread across a prepared area. Then, using various tools and techniques, they contained and directed the fire, showing perfect control over where it went and how it burned. "Our firefighters are trained to fight fire with fire," explained General Choi. "We can use smaller controlled burns to stop larger wildfires." "You fight fire with more fire?" asked Captain Day, clearly struggling to understand. "Yes. We recognize its power, but we don't fear it," said Hana. "Fire is a tool to us, sometimes dangerous but always useful." Science Officer Yoon had recovered some of her composure and was now recording everything. "Captain, their control is remarkable for a species with no natural fire ability. They've compensated with technology that far exceeds our biological capabilities." As they watched more demonstrations, the Talons grew increasingly quiet. When the final demonstration ended, a series of incendiary grenades that exploded with bright colors and intense heat, Captain Day asked if they could have a moment alone. The human officials stepped away, giving the aliens some space. From a distance, they could see the two Talons engaged in intense conversation. "I think we broke them," whispered General Choi to Hana with a small smile. "That was the point," she replied. "Now they'll see us differently." After a few minutes, the aliens approached again. Captain Day's expression was serious, but also showed a new respect that hadn't been there before. "Ambassador Hana," he said formally, "we request a full cultural exchange meeting. It seems we have much to learn about humans." Hana bowed slightly. "We would be honored, and we have much to learn about Talons as well. I must admit," continued Captain Day, "that we severely underestimated your species. We thought our fire manipulation made us superior to beings without such natural gifts." "It's a common mistake," said General Choi. "Many judge others by standards that favor themselves." Science Officer Yoon stepped forward, her data pad clutched tightly. "Your fire technology is beyond anything we imagined possible. Our own scientists will be fascinated and terrified." "There's no need for fear," said Hana gently. "Humans developed these technologies because we had to. We lack your natural abilities, so we created tools to help us survive." Captain Day nodded slowly. "Yes, I'm beginning to understand. What we gained through evolution, you gained through invention. And your path allowed you to go much further than ours." "Different paths, different strengths," said Hana. "That's what makes meeting new species so valuable." As they walked back toward the transport vehicles, Science Officer Yoon was still making notes. "Our biology can produce flames reaching about 800 degrees, she said. "Your flamethrower produces heat over 2,000 degrees. And this thermite, you called it, over 4,000 degrees. It's beyond what any Talon could survive producing." "That's the advantage of tools," said Park Jin. "They can do things our bodies cannot." Captain Day looked up at the sky, then back at the humans. "On our world, we have a legend about a being who stole fire from the gods and gave it to people. It's just a story to us because we make our own fire. But now I wonder if there's truth in such myths." "We have similar stories," said Hana. "A being named Prometheus who gave fire to humans. Fire changed everything for us." As they boarded the vehicles, Captain Day took one last look at the training grounds, still smoking from the demonstrations. "We thought we had mastered fire," he said quietly. "But you humans, you didn't just master it. You transformed it into something entirely new." The vehicles started back toward the city. Inside, Captain Day and Science Officer Yoon sat silently, occasionally exchanging glances. Their worldview had been completely shattered in less than an hour. "Ambassador," said Captain Day finally, "we would like to learn more about human history, specifically how you developed from creatures who feared fire to beings who command it so completely." Hana nodded. "We'd be happy to share that story. It's one of humanity's greatest journeys." The meeting room at Earth's Unified Space Command was set up differently today. Instead of the formal arrangement of the first meeting, the tables formed a circle. Ambassador Hana had suggested this to show equality between humans and Talons. Captain Day had agreed. His attitude noticeably changed since the weapons demonstration. "Thank you for arranging this cultural exchange," Captain Day said as he and Science Officer Yoon took their seats. "Yesterday was, educational." General Choi nodded. "Sometimes understanding comes from surprise." Ambassador Hana introduced a new face. "This is Dr. Min, our leading expert on the history of human fire use." Dr. Min was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He nodded to the aliens. "I've studied fire technology for 40 years. I'm honored to meet a species with natural fire abilities." Science Officer Yoon placed her data pad on the table. "We have many questions. First, how did humans begin using fire if you cannot create it naturally?" Dr. Min smiled. "It began with lightning strikes. Early humans found natural fires and kept them burning. They carried flames from place to place. Later, they learned to make fire by rubbing sticks together or striking stones." "That must have been difficult," said Captain Day. "Very," agreed Dr. Min. "For thousands of years, keeping fire alive was critical to survival. Letting your fire die could mean death in cold regions." Hana added, "Fire gave us cooked food, which provided more energy for our brains to develop. It gave us light in darkness, protection from predators. It was the first technology that set us on our path." Captain Day leaned forward. "But when did you begin to weaponize it?" "Very early," said General Choi. "Burning spears, flaming arrows, fire pits to trap enemies or animals. Humans quickly learned that fire could be both tool and weapon." Dr. Min tapped on a tablet, and images appeared on the wall screen. They showed the history of human fire use: early campfires, metal forging, steam engines, and modern technology. "Our lack of natural fire ability forced us to innovate," he explained. "We had to understand fire deeply. What feeds it, what controls it, what changes it. This led to chemistry, metallurgy, and eventually advanced science." Science Officer Yoon was taking notes rapidly. "So your weakness became your strength." "Exactly," said Dr. Min. "When you can naturally create fire, you might not question how it works, but we had to master its secrets." Ambassador Hana noticed that Captain Day seemed troubled. "Is something bothering you, Captain?" The Talon commander looked. "Yesterday, after the demonstrations, I contacted our homeworld. I shared videos of your fire technology. The High Council was disturbed." "We didn't mean to upset your people," said Hana. "It's not that," said Captain Day. "For thousands of years, we've believed our fire manipulation made us special among intelligent species. Our entire culture is built on this belief. Now we must face that humans have surpassed us in the very thing we pride ourselves on." The room was quiet for a moment. Then Dr. Min spoke gently. "Different paths lead to different kinds of mastery. Your natural ability is still remarkable, something humans can never do." Science Officer Yoon looked up from her data pad. "But that's what troubles us. Your flamethrowers, your thermite, they make our natural abilities seem primitive." General Choi shook his head. "Not primitive, just different. Your bodies can create fire safely. Our bodies would burn. We needed technology as a barrier between us and the flame." This seemed to comfort the aliens somewhat. Captain Day straightened his posture. "May I ask about the future of your fire technology?" What comes next? Dr. Min smiled. We've moved beyond simple fire in many ways. Nuclear energy is essentially a different form of fire, atoms splitting or fusing, releasing energy. Our fusion reactors are like tiny, controlled stars. The aliens looked at each other, impressed. Science Officer Yoon asked, "How has fire shaped your civilization beyond technology? Does it influence your art, your culture?" Hana nodded. Deeply. Fire appears in our religions, our stories, our celebrations. We light candles for birthdays, hold Olympic torch ceremonies, gather around campfires to tell stories. Fire still symbolizes light, warmth, and life to us even as we've tamed it. More images appeared on the screen. People gathered around bonfires, festival celebrations with fireworks, candlelit dinners. "Beautiful," said Captain Day. "Despite your technological mastery, you still honor fire's original meaning." "We do," agreed Dr. Min. "Fire is both science and symbol to us." Science Officer Yoon had been quiet, reviewing her notes. Now she looked directly at the humans. "I've analyzed your fire technologies extensively. They require resources, fuel, metals, chemicals. Our natural ability needs only our bodies. Isn't that more efficient?" General Choi considered this. "In some ways, yes, but our technology can be improved, refined, made more powerful with each generation. Biological evolution is much slower." "That is true," admitted Yoon. "In 10,000 years, our fire glands have changed very little. But in just a few hundred years, you've developed fire control that far exceeds ours." Captain Day turned to Ambassador Hana. "We came to Earth thinking we would find another primitive species that would be awed by our abilities. Instead, we found humans, physically weaker than us but with minds that have overcome those limitations brilliantly." Hana smiled. "That's humanity's great strength. We adapt. We observe, learn, and create." Dr. Min added, "And we'd like to learn from you as well. Your natural fire production fascinates our scientists. It could teach us new approaches to energy creation." For the first time since the weapons demonstration, Captain Day smiled. "Perhaps that is where this exchange should lead, each species learning from the other's mastery." The meeting continued into the afternoon. The Talons shared the history of their species, how their fire glands had evolved from defense mechanisms into tools for cooking, heating, and artistic expression. The humans explained more about Earth's technological development. As evening approached, Captain Day made an announcement. "I've received a message from our High Council. They wish to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. Your species has earned our respect." Ambassador Hana bowed slightly. "We're honored, and we look forward to learning more about Talon culture." "There is much we can teach each other," said Science Officer Yoon. "Perhaps together we can develop new understandings of fire and energy that neither species could achieve alone." As the meeting ended, Captain Day approached Dr. Min privately. "Yesterday I felt shame when I saw what humans had accomplished, but today I feel hope. Different paths can still lead to shared discoveries." Dr. Min nodded. "That's the beauty of meeting new intelligent life. We all have something unique to offer." Outside the command center, the setting sun made the Talon ship glow like an ember against the darkening sky, a fitting symbol for the new relationship forming between two species who had mastered fire in very different ways. 6 months had passed since the Talons first landed on Earth. The silver ship now approaching Seoul was 3 times larger than the first one. This was no exploration vessel, but a diplomatic flagship carrying members of the Talon High Council. Ambassador Hana Kim stood at the landing area with General Choi, Dr. Min, and other high-ranking officials from Earth's governments. The morning air was cool, but excitement warmed everyone. "Do you think they've fully accepted us now?" asked Dr. Min. Hana nodded. "Captain Day's reports changed their view of humans completely. Today marks a new chapter for both our species." The large ship settled onto the landing platform with barely a sound. Its surface rippled and a wide doorway formed. First to emerge was Captain Day, now wearing the gold markings of a promoted officer. Behind him came Science Officer Yoon, similarly promoted, and then 5 older Talons with elaborate silver designs on their blue skin. "Ambassador Hana," said Captain Day with a bow. "May I present the High Council of Talon?" The lead council member stepped forward. "I am High Elder Q. We have traveled far to meet the humans who turned fire into something beyond our imagination." The formal greetings continued as the delegation moved inside to the grand hall prepared for the occasion. Hundreds of human diplomats and scientists from around the world had gathered for this historic meeting. High Elder Q took the main speaking position. "6 months ago, Captain Day showed us recordings of your fire technology. At first, we did not believe what we saw. How could a species without fire glands create such powerful flames? We had to see for ourselves." The elder looked around the room. "Now we understand. Humans are not defined by what you lack, but by how you overcome those lacks. This is a powerful lesson for Talons." Ambassador Hana spoke next. "We are honored by your visit. Earth looks forward to sharing knowledge and friendship with the Talon people." High Elder Q nodded. "That is why we are here. We propose a formal alliance between our worlds, an exchange of technology, science, and culture." A murmur of excitement went through the human audience. This was even more than they had hoped for. "We have brought our top scientists," continued Q. "They wish to study your fire technologies while sharing the secrets of our biological fire production." Dr. Min stepped forward. "Our scientists would welcome this exchange. We have much to learn from each other." The formal speeches gave way to presentations. The Talons showed remarkable holograms of their homeworld, cities built with fire-formed materials, glowing gardens where plants responded to the heat from Talon hands, and medical techniques using precisely controlled flames. Then the humans presented their latest advances. Dr. Min led a demonstration of how plasma technology, what he called the fourth state of fire, was being used for everything from cutting tools to fusion energy. During a break in the presentations, Captain Day found Ambassador Hana near a window overlooking the city. "Your world looks different to me now," he said quietly. "When we first arrived, I saw only what humans lacked. Now I see what you've built despite those limitations." Hana smiled. "And I see your natural abilities with new appreciation. Think what we might accomplish by combining our different approaches." Captain Day nodded. "That is exactly what the High Council hopes for. They believe humans and Talons together might unlock energy technologies neither could develop alone." General Choi joined them, along with Science Officer Yoon. "The military cooperation will benefit us both," said General Choi. "Your natural fire abilities would be valuable in emergency situations where equipment fails. And your containment technologies could help us control wildfires on our forest moon," added Yoon. "Last year, we lost thousands of acres because our natural flames couldn't fight the larger fires." As the day progressed, specific agreements were drafted. The Talons would establish an embassy on Earth, and humans would send representatives to the Talon homeworld. Scientific teams would begin joint research projects immediately. The most significant moment came near the end of the day. "High Elder." Q approached Ambassador Hana with a small glowing object. "This is the eternal flame of Talon," he said. "It has burned for over 1,000 years, passed from one generation to the next. We wish to share it with Earth as a symbol of our new alliance." Hana was deeply moved. "We are honored by this gift. We too have a tradition of eternal flames." She gestured to General Choi, who brought forward a beautifully crafted metal torch. "This is designed to hold a flame that never dies," she explained. "It represents the enduring spirit of humanity. Perhaps today we can join these symbols together." High Elder Q agreed. A platform was prepared at the center of the hall. The human torch was placed upon it, and the Talon Elder carefully transferred their eternal flame to it. The blue-tinted flame settled into the human device, burning brightly. "Two approaches to fire, united in one flame," said Q. "May this mark the beginning of a lasting friendship between our worlds." The ceremony concluded with both species agreeing to hold yearly summit meetings, alternating between Earth and the Talon homeworld. As the alien delegation prepared to return to their ship for the night, Captain Day asked Ambassador Hana for a private word. "There's something I haven't told you," he said when they were alone. "News of human flamethrowers has spread across our star system. It has changed how many species view the galaxy." "Is that good or bad?" asked Hana. "Both, perhaps," said Day. For thousands of years, species with natural abilities like ours thought themselves superior to those without. The knowledge that humans have surpassed biology with technology has caused a profound shift in thinking. "I hope it's a positive shift," said Hana. Day nodded. "Mostly positive. It has created new respect for adaptability and innovation, but also some fear. Your species overcame your limitations so completely, some wonder what else humans might achieve." Hana considered this. "Fear isn't what we want. Partnership is our goal." "I know," said Day. "That's why this alliance matters so much. It shows that different evolutionary paths can come together for mutual benefit, not competition." As they walked back to join the others, Day added, "You know, on our world we have an old saying, 'The brightest flame burns within, not without.' I used to think it meant our internal fire glands. Now I see it differently." "How do you see it now?" asked Hana. "The true fire that matters is the fire of mind, the spark of intelligence that drives innovation," said Day. "By that measure, humans burn very brightly indeed." Later that evening, as the Talon ship glowed against the night sky, Earth scientists were already meeting with their alien counterparts, sharing ideas and making plans. In laboratories and meeting rooms, the two species who had mastered fire in such different ways were finding common ground. And in the main hall, the combined flame, part biological, part technological, continued to burn, a perfect symbol of what could be accomplished when different paths converged. It was more than just fire now. It was hope for a future where diversity of approach became strength rather than division. A lesson that would spread across the stars as news of the Human-Talon alliance traveled to other worlds.